Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. Dad moves his pregnant new wife and her kids into my house, then demands I move out. But one secret turns their plan upside down. I'm 23, and I've been living in my grandparents' house just outside the city for most of my life. My mom passed away from cancer when I was just 11, and since my dad often worked out of town, I stayed with my grandparents. They were awesome and really stepped up when I needed them. We were pretty tight, and even after they passed away a few years back, I stayed in the house. My mom was an only child like me, so when my grandparents died, I inherited everything: the house, some money, and my grandpa's truck. Fast forward to now, my dad has been dating this younger woman named Alicia. She's pretty cool in general and has 2 kids from a previous relationship, aged 6 and 8. They're energetic and all over the place, but they're good kids. About 6 months ago, after a lot of discussions, my dad asked if they could move into the house with me. It's a big place with plenty of room, so I agreed. I figured it could be nice, a bit of a fuller house. Everything was relatively smooth until Alicia got pregnant. Then things started to change. My dad proposed, which was no surprise. They seemed really in love. But suddenly, Alicia started dropping hints, and then directly telling me that I should start thinking about moving out, because they would need my room for the new baby. She also mentioned wanting her mom to move in to help with the upcoming baby and her kids. Now here's the kicker. Alicia didn't know that the house actually belongs to me. My dad hadn't mentioned it to her, and it seemed like he was avoiding the subject. It all blew up when Alicia suggested I move into her apartment in the city. She said she'd give me a good deal on rent while I finished my education. The situation got even more heated one weekend when my dad was home. Alicia was talking about nursery colors and then directly said I should start packing. That's when I had enough and told her the house was mine, handed down from my grandparents, and I wasn't going anywhere. You should have seen her face. It was a mix of shock and disbelief. I suggested that maybe my dad could use some of his savings to buy a new place for their expanding family. After all, he had a decent amount set aside, and they could sell her apartment to help with the down payment. Alicia got really upset at this suggestion. She accused me of trying to push them out and ruin her plans of building equity in the apartment she owned. Things got even messier. My dad tried to mediate but ended up making things worse by suggesting maybe it was time for me to be independent. I couldn't believe it. Him siding with her over his own daughter. This led to a huge argument where I reminded him of everything our family had been through, and how much the house meant to me as a connection to our past. Alicia now sees me as the villain trying to disrupt their family plans. She's been cold and distant. Since her kids, who used to hang out with me, are now kept away, my dad is caught in the middle trying to keep everyone happy, but it's just not working. This whole ordeal has left me stressed and a bit isolated in my own home. It's weird to feel like an outsider where you grew up. I'm trying to figure out how to handle this without causing a permanent rift, but it's tough. I feel like I'm standing on a crumbling bridge trying to hold it together. Thanks for listening, and if anyone has been in a similar situation or has any advice, it would be great to hear it. This is way more drama than I ever wanted. Am I the idiot? Now for the top comments before the update. Well, too bad. Don't get with a woman so much younger than you if you're not ready to pick up the tab for your future children, and such because you want to save for your retirement. Overall, it seems like his new baby's mama thought he was older and wealthy so she could get more out of him, but this whole thing fell flat when she noticed that he didn't own the house. The gall to kick you out but then offer her old living arrangements at a discount? Nope, you are not the idiot. Oh boy, it looks like your dad has picked a real sweetheart. Even not knowing the house was yours, trying to get you to move out to make way for her baby, presumably without talking to your dad first, is an idiot move for sure. So, I was wanting him to buy a house but not be willing to sell her place to contribute. If he doesn't have the nerve to stand up to her, as he doesn't, it sounds like he's in for a treat. None of that is your problem, of course. Your dad is an adult responsible for his own decisions. You didn't kick them out to the streets with no options. Look at it this way. She wanted a place without you in it, and now she can have one. Problem solved. They can make some sacrifices and have a comfortable living situation. Your stepmother and your father are trying to push you out of your own house where you've allowed them and the children to live. Rent? Talk to an attorney immediately. Getting rid of them legally may be much harder than you realize. In many jurisdictions, a visitor can become a legal tenant regardless of whether they pay you any rent in a month or even less. Update 1. Hey everyone, I never expected things to escalate to this point, but here I am with another shocking update. After the tense showdown about the house, I thought things might settle down, but they've only gotten more intense. Shortly after the argument where I revealed that the house belonged to me, Alicia and my dad had a massive blowout fight. Apparently, Alicia was furious that my dad had never told her the truth about the house. She felt blindsided and betrayed, believing that my dad had kept this from her intentionally. Their relationship hit a rough patch. Tensions were running high in the house. Alicia's frustration boiled over one evening when she cornered me in the kitchen. I was yelling about how unfair it was that she and her kids had to live in someone else's house, and how my dad had led her to believe they were building a life together in a home that was supposed to be theirs. I stood my ground, reminding her that it was my grandparents' house and I wasn't going to be forced out. The next day my dad confronted me. He was visibly stressed and tired, caught between his new family and his daughter. He begged me to reconsider moving out, saying it would make things easier for everyone. I was shocked and hurt, feeling completely abandoned by him. I told him that this house was my home and my last connection to my mom and grandparents, and I wasn't going to leave. My dad's reaction was something I never expected. He blamed me for the turmoil in his relationship with Alicia. He said that if I hadn't been so stubborn and had just agreed to move out, none of this would be happening. It was a punch to the gut, and I couldn't believe he was turning on me like this. Feeling overwhelmed, I decided to seek legal advice to protect my interests. I consulted with a family lawyer who assured me that as the legal owner of the house, I had every right to stay and make decisions about who lived there. This gave me some peace of mind, but the situation at home remained tense. Then the final bombshell dropped. Alicia packed up her things and took her kids to stay with her mother. She left a note saying she couldn't live in a house where she wasn't welcome, and that my dad needed to choose between his daughter and his new family. My dad was devastated and blamed me even more, claiming that I had driven Alicia and her kids away. In a last-ditch effort to fix things, my dad suggested that we sell the house and split the money. He said it was the only way to start fresh and make things right with Alicia. I was floored. Selling the house meant losing the last piece of my grandparents' legacy and the place that held so many memories. I refused, stating clearly that I wasn't going to sell the house. My dad, now desperate and feeling cornered, lashed out and said if I didn't sell, he would cut ties with me and move in with Alicia and her mother. He accused me of being selfish and ruining his life. At this point, I realized that my dad was making his choice and it wasn't me. I told him that if he wanted to leave, he was free to do so, but I wouldn't be manipulated into selling my home. True to his word, my dad packed his bags and left that evening, moving in with Alicia. The house feels emptier now, but at least it's my space again. The emotional toll has been immense, and while I feel a deep sadness over the loss of my relationship with my dad, I also feel a sense of relief that the constant tension is gone. My great-uncle has been a great support through all this, offering both emotional and practical help. I'm focusing on my studies and trying to rebuild my life without the toxic environment my dad and Alicia created. It's hard, but I know I made the right choice for myself and for the memory of my grandparents. Thank you all for your continued support and advice. Your words have been a great source of strength during these turbulent times. I hope my story serves as a reminder that standing up for yourself and protecting your peace is sometimes the hardest but most necessary thing to do. Here's to a future built on strength, resilience, and the courage to stand firm in the face of adversity. Update 2. Hey everyone, just when I thought things couldn't get more intense, my dad came back into the picture with an even more shocking demand. The past few weeks have been a roller coaster, but this latest twist has left me completely stunned. After Alicia moved out with her kids and my dad went to live with them at her mother's place, I thought the situation was finally settling down. The house was quiet, and I could focus on my studies and rebuilding my life. But last week, my dad showed up unexpectedly. He looked worn out and desperate, clearly feeling the strain of his new living situation. He asked if we could talk, and despite everything, I agreed. We sat down in the living room, the air thick with tension. My dad started by apologizing for how things had turned out, saying he never wanted our relationship to deteriorate like this. He then dropped the bombshell. He wanted to know if Alicia and her kids could move back into the house. He claimed that living at her mother's place was too cramped and stressful, and they needed more space, especially with the baby on the way. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything that had happened, the lies, the manipulation, the betrayal, he was asking me to let them move back in. I took a deep breath and calmly told him no. I explained that I needed a stable and peaceful environment, and their presence would only bring more chaos and conflict. My dad's demeanor changed instantly. He became angry and defensive, accusing me of being unforgiving and selfish. He said I was putting my own needs above the family, and that I was ruining his chance at happiness. I stood my ground, reiterating that the house was mine and I had every right to decide who lived there. Then came the ultimatum. My dad, in a moment of sheer desperation and anger, threatened to disown me if I didn't let Alicia and her kids move back in. He said that if I couldn't support him and his new family, then he wanted nothing more to do with me. He demanded that I choose. Either I allowed them back into the house, or he would cut me out of his life for good. The weight of his words hit me hard. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and disbelief, but I knew I couldn't let myself be bullied or manipulated into making a decision that went against my well-being. I told him that I was sorry he felt that way, but my answer was still no. I wasn't going to sacrifice my peace and the legacy of my grandparents for his demands. My dad looked at me with a mix of shock and rage. He then turned and walked out of the house. I watched as he left, feeling a profound sense of loss but also a strong conviction that I had done the right thing. It was clear that our relationship had reached a breaking point, and while it hurt, I knew I had to prioritize my own mental health and future. In the days that followed, I received a few hostile messages from Alicia accusing me of being heartless and cruel, but I also had an outpouring of support from my great-uncle, friends, and even some relatives who now understand the full extent of what's been happening. It's been incredibly tough, but I'm focusing on my studies and the future I'm building for myself. This house is my sanctuary, and I'm determined to honor my grandparents' memory by living a life they would be proud of. Thank you all for your unwavering support and encouragement. Your words have been a lifeline during these trying times. I hope my story serves as a reminder that it's okay to set boundaries and stand up for yourself, even when faced with difficult choices and family pressures. Here's to moving forward with strength, resilience, and the courage to protect our peace and well-being. Update 3. Hey everyone, I can hardly believe I'm writing another update, but life keeps throwing these curveballs my way. This time, the situation has taken an even more shocking turn. A few days ago, I received an urgent message from my dad. Alicia had given birth to my half-brother. The news was bittersweet. On one hand, I was happy for the new addition to the family, but on the other hand, I couldn't ignore the tension and unresolved issues that lingered between us. Shortly after the birth, Alicia reached out to me directly. She was emotional and seemed desperate. She said that their current living situation was unbearable, especially with a newborn. She emphasized that my dad's constant commuting was exhausting and unsustainable. Her main point, however, was that their newborn son needed a quiet, stable environment away from the chaos of the city. She proposed that they move back into the house with me. This time, she assured me that she understood my feelings and promised that things would be different. She even said I could stay in the house and that they would respect my space. She painted a picture of a harmonious household where we could all coexist for the sake of the baby. I was torn. The idea of having my half-brother around was appealing, but I couldn't forget the manipulation and drama they had brought into my life before. I needed time to think, so I asked Alicia to give me a day to consider her request. That evening, I spoke with my great-uncle. He reminded me of the importance of protecting my peace and well-being, and urged me to think carefully about my decision. After a lot of soul-searching, I realized that allowing them back into the house could potentially bring back all the tension and conflict that I had worked so hard to move past. I called Alicia and my dad. I explained my concerns and why I couldn't let them move back in. I told them that while I cared about my half-brother and wanted the best for him, the history of manipulation and emotional turmoil they had caused made it impossible for me to welcome them back into my home. My dad exploded with anger, accusing me of being selfish and heartless. He said that I was punishing them for past mistakes, and that I was denying my half-brother a better life. Alicia, although more composed, was clearly disappointed and tried to guilt-trip me by saying I was depriving the baby of a peaceful upbringing. Despite their emotional appeals, I stood my ground. I reiterated that my decision was final, and that I couldn't sacrifice my mental health and stability for them. I offered to help them find another place, even suggesting a few options that were affordable and within a reasonable distance from the city. My dad's reaction was predictably harsh. He reiterated his threat to disown me and said I would regret my decision. Alicia, on the other hand, seemed to accept my refusal with a heavy heart, but she made it clear that she believed I was making a huge mistake. Since then, I've focused on maintaining my own peace and continuing with my studies. The emotional weight of my decision has been heavy, but I know it was the right choice for me. I've also sought support from friends who have been incredibly understanding and supportive. Life has been a whirlwind of emotions, but I'm learning to navigate these challenges with resilience and strength. This house is not just a building. It's a sanctuary that represents my journey, my growth, and my commitment to a better future. Thank you all for your continued support and encouragement. Your words have been a source of strength for me during these tumultuous times. I hope my story continues to inspire others to stand firm in their convictions and prioritize their well-being, even in the face of difficult family dynamics. Here's to moving forward with courage, resilience, and the unwavering belief that we deserve to live in peace and harmony. Update 4. Hey everyone, I never thought I'd have another twist to share, but here we are. Just when I thought things couldn't get any more shocking, life decided to throw another bombshell my way. This update is something I never saw coming. A few weeks after I turned down my dad and Alicia's request to move back into my house, I got a call from my dad. He sounded more distressed than I had ever heard him. He asked if we could meet in person to talk about something important. Despite everything that had happened, I agreed. We met at a quiet cafe, and what he told me left me absolutely stunned. My dad revealed that he and Alicia were getting a divorce. Apparently, Alicia had been taking advantage of him financially all along. She had pressured him into spending a significant amount of his savings on her lifestyle and her kids, all while planning. Once she had drained him dry, the final straw came when my dad discovered that Alicia had been siphoning money from his accounts and was planning to flee with her kids and the new baby. He told me that he had confronted her with the evidence, and Alicia didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she turned cold and manipulative, blaming him for everything and saying that if he had provided more, she wouldn't have had to take such drastic measures. The realization that Alicia had been a gold digger all along was a harsh blow to my dad. In the midst of this revelation, my dad apologized to me. He admitted that he had been blinded by his infatuation with Alicia and had made terrible decisions that hurt our relationship. He said he regretted siding with her and pressuring me to leave my home. He seemed genuinely remorseful, and for the first time in a long while I saw a glimpse of the dad I used to know. He asked if there was any way we could start to rebuild our relationship. He explained that he felt lost and didn't know how to move forward without my support. It was a lot to process, and I told him I needed time to think about it. Alicia, on the other hand, tried to take advantage of the divorce proceedings by claiming she deserved half of everything my dad owned, including the house, even though it's legally mine. She also demanded full custody of their baby, using the child as leverage to get more money from my dad. During the divorce proceedings, my dad's lawyer presented overwhelming evidence of Alicia's manipulation and financial abuse. The court sided with my dad, granting him a fair settlement and ensuring that Alicia couldn't take advantage of him any further. She was awarded a modest settlement, but nothing close to what she had been aiming for. In the end, my dad was granted joint custody of my half-brother, and he's determined to be a good father to him despite everything that's happened. As for Alicia, she moved back to the city with her kids, leaving my dad to pick up the pieces of his life. This whole ordeal has been a roller coaster of emotions. I've agreed to give my dad a chance to rebuild our relationship, but it's going to take time and effort from both of us. He's staying with a friend for now, trying to figure out his next steps and rebuild his life from the ground up. As for me, I'm continuing to focus on my studies and my future. The house remains my sanctuary, a place where I can find peace and stability. This journey has taught me the importance of standing firm in my convictions and protecting my well-being, no matter the cost. Thank you all for your unwavering support and encouragement. Your words have been a source of strength for me during these incredibly challenging times. I hope my story serves as a reminder that we all have the power to overcome adversity and build a better future for ourselves. Here's to resilience, new beginnings, and the strength to move forward no matter what life throws our way. Update 5. Hey everyone! Life has a way of surprising you when you least expect it, and this update is proof of that. After everything that's happened, I'm thrilled to share some truly positive news that's both shocking and heartwarming. After Alicia left and the divorce was finalized, my dad and I began the slow process of rebuilding our relationship. He moved in with me temporarily, staying in one of the guest rooms while he figured out his next steps. It wasn't easy at first, but over time we started to find a new rhythm. My dad was genuinely remorseful, and we both worked hard to heal the wounds of the past. A few months ago, my dad met a woman named Laura. Laura is kind, compassionate, and has a warm presence that immediately put me at ease. She's a nurse, and they met while my dad was volunteering at a community health event. Laura has a daughter who's in college, and they seem to have a great relationship. Seeing my dad happy again was like a breath of fresh air, and I was hopeful but cautious. Laura and I met several times and we got along wonderfully. She respected my boundaries and understood the significance of my home. She never overstepped or made me feel uncomfortable, and it was clear she genuinely cared about my dad. Their relationship blossomed quickly, but in a healthy, supportive way that was worlds apart from what he had with Alicia. One evening, my dad sat me down and asked if Laura and her daughter could move in with us. He explained that Laura was facing some financial difficulties after helping her daughter with tuition, and that moving in together would benefit everyone. I saw how happy Laura made my dad and how much he wanted this new chapter to work. I agreed, but I had one condition. My dad had to tell Laura that the house belonged to me. I didn't want any misunderstandings or potential conflicts, like we had experienced with Alicia. My dad agreed without hesitation, understanding the importance of transparency and respect. The next evening, we all sat down together. My dad took Laura's hand and told her the full story. How the house was my grandparents' legacy, how I inherited it, and the tumultuous events that led us to this point. Laura listened attentively, and when my dad finished, she turned to me with a warm smile. "Thank you for being so open and honest," she said. "I respect your boundaries and your home, and I'm grateful for the chance to live here. I promise to honor this space and support you both." Her response was genuine and heartfelt, and I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Laura and her daughter moved in a week later, and the house has been filled with a sense of warmth and family that I hadn't felt in a long time. Living together has been surprisingly smooth. Laura and I have developed a close bond, and her daughter and I get along well too. My dad is happier than I've seen him in years, and the atmosphere in the house is one of mutual respect and support. This journey it's been incredibly challenging, but it's also shown me the power of resilience, forgiveness, and the importance of setting boundaries. I've learned that it's possible to rebuild and move forward, even after the most tumultuous times. Thank you all for your unwavering support and encouragement. Your words have been a source of strength for me during these difficult times. I hope my story continues to inspire others to stand firm in their convictions, prioritize their well-being, and believe in the possibility of positive change. Here's to new beginnings, unexpected blessings, and the strength to embrace life's twists and turns with hope and courage. Update 6. Hey everyone! Life has taken yet another unexpected and thrilling turn, and I'm excited to share this latest update with you. After everything that's happened, I finally have some truly joyous news along with a shocking twist involving my dad's ex, Alicia. Over the past few months, while my dad and I have been rebuilding our relationship and creating a harmonious home with Laura and her daughter, I met someone special. His name is Alex and he's a software engineer. I met him at a mutual friend's party. From the moment we met, there was an undeniable connection, and we quickly became inseparable. Alex is kind, understanding, and incredibly supportive. He knows all about my family history and the challenges I've faced, and he's been a rock through everything. We've grown closer each day, and recently he proposed. I said yes. We're getting married and I couldn't be happier. Planning the wedding has been an exciting whirlwind, and I'm looking forward to starting this new chapter of my life with him. Amidst all this joy, I received some shocking news about Alicia. Apparently, after she left my dad, She got involved with another man. This new relationship quickly turned sour, and I heard through the grapevine that she's now struggling both financially and emotionally. Her new partner turned out to be controlling and manipulative, leaving her in a difficult situation. It's a strange feeling knowing that Alicia, who once tried to manipulate and take advantage of my dad and me, is now facing her own struggles. Part of me feels a sense of justice, but another part of me feels a twinge of sympathy. Despite everything she did, it's hard to see someone go through such hardship. However, I know better than to get involved. I've learned the importance of protecting my peace and focusing on my own happiness. My dad, who has also heard about Alicia's situation, seems conflicted. He still feels residual guilt and responsibility, but he's focusing on his new life with Laura and the happiness they've found together. We've talked about it, and he's agreed that it's best not to get entangled in Alicia's problems again. As for our family, we're moving forward. My dad and Laura are incredibly supportive of my upcoming wedding, and we're all working together to make it a beautiful and memorable day. Feels surreal to be surrounded by so much love and support after all the turmoil we've been through.